Alright, so let's say you're told that out of 325 students, 258 of them take art, and 225 of them take music, and that lastly, 210 take both art and music. So we want to set up a Venn diagram, and I want to say that in these types of questions, they don't always say it in a very clear way, but what they're usually implying that when they say 258 students take art, that means in total there are exactly that many students who take art, and in total there are this many students that take music. So when you set up your Venn diagram, you can't end up having more than 258 take art or music, right? So those who are included in both, what that means is that they're already counted in these groups, because otherwise, when you add them on to the other groups, so you have 258 that take art, and then 210 more students, right, because they're in both subjects, that would give you 468 students, right, who are in art. But again, it's implied that a total of 258 of them are in art. But we'll see how that plays out. So you set up your Venn diagram, and what's really, oddly enough, is that's super important in these Venn diagrams is that you make sure you label your title. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to have a title or that it's not a good idea to have one. I want to point out that it's actually a pretty big deal on these tests. So you want to label this to say students, right, in classes or whatever. If you're given the name of the school, you can put that up here as a title. Now, what a Venn diagram is reading as, it depends how you label it, but let's have this circle right here represent the art students, and this circle right here represent the music students. So when the two circles cross, they form this intersection point in the middle that represents both classes, right, where art and music meet. And that's where you can start, by putting 210 students there. Now, if this whole circle represents the students in art, and we already have 210 in that circle, how many are left, right? Well, there are 258 minus 210 students left, and that's just 48 more students. So you could just put the number 48 in this circle, and that's just, you wouldn't do this ordinarily, but I'll shade it in for you. This region right here that I'm shading in, that's students who are just taking art. Now on the other side over here, when you figure out this number of students, that's just, right, students who are in music, not both. So if there are 210 in both and 225 in music, then there are 225 minus 210, or 15 students who are just taking music. So here you can say there are 48 students who just take an art class and 15 who just take a music class. And then they might ask, well, how many students take neither art or music? Well, there are 325 students in this school, right? So you would label your Venn diagram now with this rectangle around the circles, implying, let's say, that there are other groups and areas outside of art and music. So what number do we put there? Well, we have 210 in both, right? We have 48 in art and 15 that are in music, so just art and just music. Adding these up, of course, we get 3 and 1, 5, 6, 7, and 2, 273 students. Now, if there are 325 students, but 273 of them are accounted for, right, we can subtract here, set this up, and we get 52 students that are not accounted for, right, because 25 is from 325 to 300, and then 25 more to 275 is 50, and then 2 more. So here 52 students are not in either class. And you can label that out there on your Venn diagram. Alright, thanks. Hope that helped.